What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ICNV Drivers Edition. Today, I'm going to get into a conversation or a topic. I had a Facebook post sent to me by one of my subscribers, and the question was asked, so has it really changed? So let's get into who is truly the king of the Corvettes, and based off the information provided by Corvette Blogger, we're going to dive right into it. So I'm going to tell you which dealership is truly king of the Corvettes and what this latest information means to you. Let's go.
I'm on it, I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it, you know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic, keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah.
I was sent a post that led to a link that was provided by Corvette Blogger that said there is a new king of the Corvettes, and for the first time in over 67 years, Mac Moken is the #1 Corvette dealer in the United States. Let me say that again. For the first time in 67 years, Mac Moken is the #1 Corvette dealer in the United States, and they've taken the title over Ciocca. I think that is key words because I want people to understand that, because last year there was a list that came out that stated Mac Moken was the #1 Corvette dealer in the country. And I had a conversation then where I said Mac Moken was not the #1 Corvette dealer in the country, Ciocca was. And people was like, oh, you have to see the list posted. And I said, you have to understand what actually took place. And realistically, let's get into that right now. There has been a shakeup in the top 10. But in the top 10 dealers, so spots have been shifted. Les Stanfielder usually falls in number 3 to number 5. We also seen Coughlin drop from like number 5 to number 9. And if for those who don't know, that should be where Conti works. With all that being said, has GM actually shifted allocations? And I think that's what people truly care about. And I'm here to answer that question for you. First off, if you read the article, and I'm going to post it right here, or this snippet of the article, it actually states that Mac Moken went out and bought allocations and traded for allocations from other dealers. Back in November, I released a video where I stated that dealers have been buying and trading for allocations from other dealers. And somebody told me that's not going on. The Corvette is the hottest tickets in town, and nobody would sell that allocation. And that is a true statement to a certain extent, because like I tell everybody, if you truly want a car, you have to do the work, and most people aren't going to do the work. So there are dealers that have sold their allocations. I know of 2 dealers in Iowa alone that actually got allocations that said no one in their local area could afford the car. They advertised the car for 30 days, and then they decided to sell it to another dealership to get sold. That's how I kind of found out about what was taking place. And so as I called around trying to get an allocation for a Z06 in my chasing the Z06 process, I was learning more and more about this information. Because one thing about it is people will talk if you actually want to listen. So sometimes all you have to do is just do the work. So with that being said, when you look at this list, what's stated in this article is, I think Mac Moken took advantage of this better than any other Corvette dealer out there. So now when we see these numbers, what's actually happening is Mac Moken did sell brand new cars more than Ciocca. But is that what you really care about? Does that mean they are the #1 Corvette dealer in GM's eyes? That's the question everybody wants to get answers for. So let's talk about what this information actually means to you. But before I dive into that information, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, join the ICNV Driver District community. We talk about interesting conversations that my community brings up, or not only that, we share videos, create some interesting posts, and I have a lot of fun on this channel as well. So if you're looking for a way to pass the time with something interesting and not too much of a strain, become a subscriber, hit that bell notification, and check out the videos as they come up. Now, let's get back into this video. So what does this information actually mean to you? The #1 Corvette dealer based off allocations given by GM is still Ciocca. So don't get confused by the information that was released. Ciocca still gets the most allocations from GM. McMokin bought their way to the title. Why does this matter? A lot of this is just more of a pride thing, and it's also a business thing. McMokin was looking to take advantage of the market, so they did whatever they had to do to take advantage of the market. So people who are looking for Corvettes and you're chasing your Corvette dream based off allocations, or what dealer to go with based off the allocations they get, McMokin doesn't get the most allocations. But what they've shown is they will work the hardest to fulfill your Corvette desires. I don't understand, or I can't really tell you how that translates into you ordering a Corvette C8, but what I can sit there and say to you is it just shows their dedication. So you can make a decision on how to move forward when you go to make your Corvette purchases based off of that. But Ciocca is still the #1 Corvette dealer in the country when this comes based off allocations. And I think when you look at the top 10, that's a reflection as well, because if you listen to the words of Rick Conti, who is one of the top 10 Corvette dealers who has an actual YouTube channel and talks about their Corvette sales all the time, he almost comes out and tell you that they haven't even attempted to deal a trade or purchase another Corvette, because just like many of you, the thought process is dealers won't give up a Corvette because they're easy sales. So you saw them fall further down the list because they truly sold, based off all the knowledge I have and information I've been provided, all the allocations that was given to the dealership. So when you look at a pure allocation move, that's where Rick Conti and them failed. Now, another thing I want to state about this list that's really beneficial to you is I don't know what happened and why it happened. And what I mean by that is I don't know why now this list is now based off the physical year instead of the model year. And maybe that took place because of 2021. And I say that to you because in 2020, when everything shut down, the 2020 production carried over until 2021. So in 2021, there was actual 3 model year cars sold. You had the carryover of the 2020 year, you had the 2021 model year, and you had the production and start of the 2022 model year cars. So when that took place, when they came out and categorized the total overall Corvette sales for 2021, the first thing I pointed out was that it's not a real accurate list or portrayal, and I feel like that's why McMokin has slipped into the #1 spot on that list, because you're literally covering 3 years or 3 model years of Corvettes. And what happens with the allocations is the big top 10 dealers like McMokin and Ciocca, they usually get a large amount of allocations earlier in the production cycle of the model years, and it trickles down and it's more of a wave. So they may get a large amount of Corvettes in the beginning, in the middle it kind of slows down, they may get a few more at the end before the production of the model year switches over. So what does that mean? Based off how the allocations are given, that doesn't mean every month Ciocca will have more allocations than McMokin. That's what I want you to understand. Although they are the top or the #1 dealer when it comes to allocations, that doesn't mean every month their allocation numbers stay the same and they always have the most allocations. There are some months where they may get 50 allocations for Corvettes. There's other months where they may get 32. There's months where McMokin may see 41 allocations for Corvettes. There's another months where they may see 20 something. And then there's a chance, and in the midst of all this, there are months where MacMoken may get 39 allocations and Ciocca may see 31. So just depending on how the allocations fall, MacMoken truthfully could have had a couple extra cars to sell than Ciocca did in a physical year. That's what I was trying to express when I was explaining why technically MacMoken was not the #1 Corvette allocation dealer for 2021. But now, since this is actually taking place, it appears this is going off physical year and not model year. So once again, the 2022 model year ran through most of 2022, and then the 2023 allocation year started, and we saw some of those get sold as well. But this time, like I expressed to many of you before, that there were a lot of dealer trades and cars being sold to dealers taking place. It actually started in 2021 that I actually found this information out. So somewhere along the line for the 2022 model year and for the 2023 model year, MacMoken has been taking advantage of buying in cars from other dealers, which some of the top 10 dealers may not even consider as an option. But looking at the numbers, I'm sure they wasn't the only one that was actually doing it. Now, to answer the question that everybody actually cares about, or at least at this moment, the Z06, so what does this mean about that? When you look at this top 10 list, it can confuse a lot of people. Based off the information we just discussed, MacMoken still will not see the most Z06 allocations from GM. Pretty much, this was just a power move and a bragging rights move. It also, to me, was a smoke and mirrors move. And what do I mean by that? It now makes people focus more on them who are not quite aware of what's taking place. And when I hear people say all the time, you want to shop for the #1 Corvette dealer, it's making people actually look at MacMoken for more Corvette sales. And I saw that start to take place earlier in 2022 when the first list came out saying MacMoken was the #1 Corvette selling dealer. And I think they paid attention to that as well because more people shifted their focus from Ciocca to MacMoken. So I think they got the message and did a great marketing move to get more business going forward. Now, when we talk about this top 10 list, I can tell you right now, based off information and research I've done just looking at the top 5, only 3 of the top 5 listed dealers are selling cars or selling Z06s at MSRP. When you look at the top 10 list, based off the research I've done in trying to acquire my own Z06, 6 of the top 10 dealers are selling Z06s over MSRP. So for the people who actually looking at this top 10 list, that's something you have to look at. Because when you look at the numbers, and you can add them up yourself, the top 10 sell a large amount of the Corvettes put on the market. When you have 6 of the top 10 selling Z06s for over MSRP, that the market is telling you you might as well get accustomed to purchasing the Z06 for over MSRP. Now, I can't sit there and say this to you. None of the top 10 dealers ever told me they were selling Z06s for over 100K. Only 1 or 2 may have said 50K, and I'm gonna just be real with you. When I first reached out, 50K wasn't their number. That shifted to later into 2022 before the year ended. When I reached out, the highest figure I originally heard was 35,000 over MSRP. So at least you know if you get one from the top 10 dealers in the country, you're either going to get anywhere from MSRP to 50,000, but most are selling under 35K, if that helps anybody out. So at this point, I guess you got to do your research and you got to shop around. Honestly, I feel like all the top 10 dealers have bitten off more Z06 allocations than they will ever see, but I could be 100% wrong. So I'm not going to discourage you for reaching out and trying. I can just tell you when I did my research back in the first quarter of 2022, meaning January through March, most of the dealers then, to me, had unrealistic numbers for their list for C8 Z06s. Now, if you want to look into them today, go right ahead. I won't discourage you, because I never checked back when the pricing came out to see how many people actually fell off the list or how their list is actually shifted. But I'm just providing this information. So, just to sum all this up, Mac Moken has stolen the crown for King of the Corvette sales for 2022. But Ciocca still holds GM's King of Corvette allocation crown for those of you that actually care. The top 10 dealers have 6 dealers that are known to be selling over MSRP for C8 Z06s, which is what most of you care about. And if you look at the numbers, you realize the top 10 dealers sell a large percent of all the Corvettes allocated by GM. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching the video. If you got any comments, questions, so forth, drop them in the comment section below. As always, ICNV Drivers Edition, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, join the ICNV Drivers Edition community. We talk about interesting topics, and just like this one, I answer the questions or topics that are brought to me by my subscribers. So if there's something you want to talk to me about, reach out to me on one of my social media sites, and I will do a video if it's really an interesting topic that most people want to engage in. So, until the next upload, as always, stay blessed, stay safe, and I will see you in these streets. Peace.